we were discussing where did we left last time? We were doing this kind of conversion, right?
So
Yes,
conversion
sir.
between hexadecimal and
Yes. So
binary.
yeah, we were doing the conversions between binary, octal, and hexadecimal, and this is one of the example for the same. If you look carefully, this is the quotient and this side is the remainder, and then in the end, you are putting the values from bottom to top, 1236 for this particular number of 670. This is decimal to octal conversion. Uh, it is very clear. We discussed this thing last time also. If I divide 670 by 8, my quotient will be 83. My remainder will be 6. If I do it again, it will be 30. It will be 10 and 3. Doing it again, it will be 1 and 2. Right? And in the end, if I do it again, it will be 0 and 1. So in the end, my output will be bottom to top. It will be 1, 2, 3, 6. So is it understandable? Easy, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So continuing from this thing to next slide. Uh, same logic is true for base 16. If you want to convert this to 545 divided by 16, the process will be same, 16 into 159 with remainder of 1. Similarly, 159 by 16, 9 and remainder of 15. Again, 9 by 16, quotient 0, remainder 9. But there is a rule in hexadecimal. If your remainder is greater than 9, you have to convert it into the form of A, B, C, D, E, F. Right. And in case your remainder would have been 10 here, then the answer would have been A. If it was 11, answer would have been B. Similarly, like this, 12 for C, 13 for D, 14 for E, and 15 for F. In this case, my remainder came out to be 15. That's why we replaced the answer by F in this case, and final answer will be 9F1. So in a way, 2545 base 10 is equivalent to 9F1 base 16. Is it clear? Any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay, let's move ahead. So there is holiday this Friday, right? So we have only today and tomorrow's lecture to cover this slide. If you think that I am going fast, you can slow me down. Otherwise, I will try to complete this slide within 2 lectures, and I will try to explain everything in detail. But in case you think that I should explain more, you people can stop me and ask a particular question regarding that particular slide. So we discussed last time that if I want to convert this number into hexadecimal, what should I do? This has to be converted into base 16. What should I do? That's the question. So there is a
So,
simple rule. Yes.
so 4 के pairs बना के
Yes. So in a way, the rule is that we have to make a pair of 4. And because this is 101, if I put a 0 here, it does not affect much. The resultant should be same, right? And this first pair of 4 will give me value of 10. 1010 is, yeah. So 1010 is actually 10 in binary, in decimal, right? And this is binary representation of the same. So this 10 is actually A according to hexadecimal. It will be A. 101 is 5. So the answer is 5A with base 16. Is it clear? Someone is saying in the chat box के सर ये नहीं आया समझ में. Okay. So simple है, ध्यान से देखो, हमारे पास ये नंबर गिवन है, हमें इसको बाइनरी से, ये बाइनरी है, इसको हमें कन्वर्ट करना है हेक्साडेसिमल में. ठीक है, ये बेस 2 है, इसको फाइनल आंसर मुझे लिखना है बेस 16 में. व्हाट शुड आई डू? आई शुड मेक पेयर्स ऑफ 4. तो अगर मैं 4 के पेयर बनाऊंगा, तो पहला जो पेयर है वो 1010 है. इट इज इक्वल टू 10, बट 10 हेक्साडेसिमल में हम ए लिखते हैं, तो 1010 विल बी ए, एंड 101 इज एक्चुअली 0101. ठीक है, अगर आप लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे 0 लगा दोगे, इट डज नॉट अफेक्ट द नंबर, एंड दिस 101 विल बी 5. और इसी को 5a को मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा है, और इसमें कुछ नहीं है. So is the doubt clear, Harshil?
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving ahead. So what do we do when we are given a number which is 752 in octal and I want to get the number in binary? सबसे आसान तरीका है कि हमारे पास जो भी नंबर है उसको 3 डिजिट में खोल के रख दो इन बाइनरी. ठीक है, जो भी आपके पास नंबर गिवन है, इन दिस केस इट इज 752, so 2 can be written as 010, 5 can be written as 101 and 7 can be written as 111. In the end, combine it. That's your answer. So in a way, let's say that I have a number, maybe I want to convert 15 of decimal into octal. ठीक है, मतलब बेस 8 में कन्वर्ट करना है. How will I do it? 15 को I will divide by 8 every time. 8 1s are 8, 7 remainder, 8 zeros are 0 and 1 remainder. So output is 17. So 15 is equal to 17 in base 8. अब इस अब इस 17 को मैं बाइनरी में लिखना चाहूँ तो कैसे लिख सकता हूँ? 1 को मैं लिख दूंगा 001, 7 को लिख दूंगा मैं 111. और हमें सबको पता है कि 1111 इज एक्चुअली 15 ओनली. डाउट तो नहीं है कोई अब? If you have a doubt in any of this, you can ask it right now.
तो मतलब हर डिजिट को 3 डिजिट से रिप्रेजेंट कर देना है बाइनरी की.
हाँ, अगर मेरा बेस 8 है तो.
ओके सर.
सर इसमें ऑक्टल टू बाइनरी किया ना 752 को.
इसने ऑक्टल टू बाइनरी किया. यस, ये बेस 2 है एंड वाला. ठीक है जी, और ये वाला ऊपर बेस 8 था. ओके, लेट्स मूव अहेड. सो ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस पार्ट और इससे आपको समझ आ जाएगा. 1 second, आई थिंक आई हैव मिस्ड वन स्लाइड. ठीक है, 752 को हमने कर लिया ऑक्टल टू. अच्छा, अभी तक क्या कर रहे हैं हम? अभी तक मैंने सिर्फ हाफ पार्ट किया था. क्वेश्चन वाज दैट आई वांट टू कन्वर्ट ऑक्टल इनटू हेक्साडेसिमल. अभी हमने यहाँ पे सिर्फ बेस 2 में लेके आए हैं हम. ठीक है, दिस इज द फर्स्ट हाफ that I am converting our octal number which is 752 having a base of 8. मैंने क्या किया? every digit को I converted into parts of 3 bits. ठीक है, 2 को obviously I can write it as 010 because when we solve this it will be 8 into 0 0 plus 2 into 1 2 plus 1 into 0 0. Answer is 2. So 010 is representation of 2. Similarly, 101 is representation of 5 and 111 is representation of 7. So we have converted our octal into binary at this point, but now the question was to convert it into hexadecimal. Hexadecimal तो अब और भी आसान हो गया. If my number is this, and now if I want to convert this thing into hexadecimal, I have to make the pairs of 4, 1010, 1110, और जो आखिरी वाला 1 है इसके साथ मैं 3 0 लगा दूंगा ताकि ये 4 का पेयर मतलब 4 का पूरा सेट बन जाए. एंड दिस विल बी इक्वल टू 1. 1110 क्या होता है इन हेक्साडेसिमल? व्हाट इज 1110? अगर ये मेरा बाइनरी है, व्हाट विल बी द हेक्साडेसिमल
14
रिप्रेजेंटेशन?
सर.
14.
14.
14 तो ये इसका डेसिमल हुआ ना.
E.
हाँ जी, ई. यस, इट विल बी ई. 1110 is 14 in decimal, but if I convert that 14 into hexadecimal, it will be E. Why? Because 14 को मुझे E ही लिखना है. It's a rule in hexadecimal. And 1010 क्या आएगा? A? Yes or no?
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what is written on the next slide. If you check this, same thing has been written and the final answer is written to be 1EA. Any doubt in this? इसको ध्यान से देख लो. if you have a doubt in this slide, you can ask. The question was to convert the octal number into hexadecimal. Octal means that we have base of 8 and we converted that base of 8 into base of 2 first, and then we made pairs of 4, the sets of 4, not the pairs. So after that making of set of 4, we converted that 1010 into A and 1110 into E. Similarly, 0001 into 1. So 1EA इकट्ठा लिख देंगे and base will be 16. I will repeat one small point coming to the previous slide. So at this point, we saw that in the table, when we write the hexadecimal representation of my decimal numbers, 10 ko we always write as A, 11 is B, similarly 14 is E, 15 is F. We have to take care of this thing. When we say that we have to put 1010, which is binary, into base of 16, simply write A, that's all. Is it clear to everyone? And that's the exact reason why we write this 1010 as A at this point, or in this case also we have converted this 1010 into A and 1110 into E, because 1110 is 14 and 14 is E in hexadecimal. I hope the doubts are clear now. I have been getting some doubts in chats. Okay, let's come to the next part. We have already seen the base 2, base 8, base 10 and 16, all the conversions we have seen. Now the next thing is the memory classification. We need to see that what kind of memories are available for us to work on. Okay, and there are few things available. You can see that this is the classification in a way: input sources, then storage devices, the RAM, the cache memory, and the CPU register. So I will discuss them one by one. So when we input something through the keyboard, we are just pressing one character at a time. ठीक है, अगर आपने A टाइप किया तो one character at a time है, तो उसने कुछ input दिया, that's why we are saying input is through keyboard. Similarly for mouse, if I am clicking somewhere or I am writing somewhere, writing something here, so that's input, right? Similarly, removable media में input can be same thing. Let's say you are running one video, or maybe you are watching an episode through pen drive on your laptop, so that video is being sent into the computer system to run and show us the video in a way that is being done through a input source, right? Because your pen drive is working as an input source at that particular amount of time. Similarly, scanner, camera, mic, video, whatever you are giving the input in the computer, it is being done through the input source. Similar is the case of webcam. So camera में आप webcam भी लिख सकते हो यहाँ पे. Similarly, remote source. So whatever remote source का मतलब है that let's say you are doing some coding, and through coding you can remotely access your computer. For example, if you people know about TeamViewer, TeamViewer is kind of a software which helps you people to share your screen with the other person on the other end, and that person can also control your screen. So remote source का मतलब यही है that you can maybe utilize, you can write, or maybe you can do something on someone else's computer. So you can give your input through this software into some other laptop or computer, and other sources are also there. There are other methods also to do the input. So these are all the inputs. Second type of memory is this storage device. And storage device ka meaning is that you are working maybe on this ROM or BIOS. You cannot directly change the values inside it. ठीक है जी. ROM का full form क्या होता है? Can anyone tell me?
Read-only memory.
Read-only memory, yes. Because read-only memory means that we cannot change anything inside it. It is already pre-programmed. What is the full form of BIOS? BIOS का full form बताओ.
Basic input
Basic-
output system.
Yes, the full form is basic input output system. So this is kind of something जो BIOS होता है. BIOS, if you have installed Windows on your own, you must have seen that हम BIOS में जाते हैं कुछ starting में changes करने के लिए, जहाँ पे हम अपना bootable device के बारे में हम भरते हैं, वहाँ पे information भरते हैं. We give the information regarding that bootable device. It might be your C drive, it may be your pen drive, USB, or it may be your CD, or it might be something else, maybe some hard disk that you have already installed in the laptop. So that kind of things are available, and from that particular device, whichever has the first preference, BIOS picks the operating system and BIOS runs our Windows. So whenever you start your laptop, if you click on F10, I guess F10 is the right key to enter the BIOS system, and BIOS is responsible for getting our Windows fire up. So whenever you turn on your laptop, if your laptop is coming to the login page within 5 seconds, then BIOS is responsible to get that work done quickly. And that's all for BIOS. And ROM means that whatever is being installed, whatever has been pre-installed in your laptop, let's say there is some pre-installed even this BIOS. So when we say that BIOS system is installed in your laptop, it is dependent on multiple organizations. So multiple companies are there who build this thing, right? So even BIOS has been built by someone. That laptop manufacturer has taken BIOS system from someone that has been put in the ROM. So we can say that BIOS is kind of installed inside this ROM. ROM में वो BIOS already given है, जो हमारा आगे हेल्प कर रहा है लैपटॉप स्टार्ट करने में. सो रोम में हम चेंजेस नहीं कर सकते, हम बायोस को डिलीट नहीं कर सकते, ठीक है. एंड सिमिलरली रिमूवेबल ड्राइव्स मींस दैट व्हेनेवर यू पुट ए पेन ड्राइव, यू कैन ऑलवेज स्टोर समथिंग इन दैट. And similarly network internet storage, so whatever you put on the cloud, that's also your storage device, right? So if you have a Google account, you must have worked on Google Drive also, you must have put something on Google Drive. That's kind of internet storage. And similarly your hard drive means that whatever has been installed in your laptop, you must have got the hard drive on the back end, or maybe SSD on the back end. So you are using that thing. So whatever you do, let's say you are working with the C drive or D drive or maybe E drive, let's say these are the 3 drives inside your laptop. So all of them are existing on this hard disk or SSD only. So generally ho kya raha hai, you have a hard disk having a capacity of maybe 1 terabyte. You divide your C, D and E drive based on how much space you need. So this is the hard drive, and that's all about storage. Similarly, RAM are of 2 types, physical and virtual. When I say physical RAM means that when you must have seen that if you go to market to get a laptop, there might be few of you who might be thinking that चलो laptop लेते हैं, दिवाली सेल आ रही है, दिवाली आ रही है, market से लेके आएंगे. So in that case, when you go to a shop, you will be told that पूछा जाएगा कि कितना RAM वाला laptop चाहिए. So might be you are interested to get a 8 GB laptop or a 16 GB laptop having this amount of RAM, not the hard disk but the RAM. And hard drive, maybe you want 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte depending on your conditions or requirements. Or SSD also, SSD वाले थोड़े महंगे होते हैं, तो maybe 512 GB of SSD is also fine at this stage. And always when you buy a laptop, think about down the line of 5 years कि 5 साल minimum चलाना उसको, तो कितना आपको चाहिए होगा, you know that much, right? So when we say that we have 8 GB RAM or 16 GB RAM in a laptop, that's my physical RAM. ठीक है. Virtual memory क्या होती है? Virtual memory is a way of kind of giving the fake confidence to some program. Let's say some program is running and it needs maybe 20 GB of RAM. I have seen these kind of softwares. One of the software is MATLAB. MATLAB is very heavy. इसका setup भी 17-18 GB का होता है. And when you do some practical work, let's say you're working on a heavy data set, Matrix Laboratory, MATLAB takes up to 20 GB RAM. I have seen seen it in real कि ये इतना RAM ले रहा है. तो मेरे suppose I have RAM of 16 GB on the back end, जो मैंने लैपटॉप में रखा हुआ है, बट देन एक्स्ट्रा 4 GB उसको कहाँ से मिल रहा है? एक्स्ट्रा 4 GB वो वर्चुअल मेमोरी से ले रहा है. वर्चुअल मेमोरी इज काइंड ऑफ समथिंग विच इज यूटिलाइजिंग योर हार्ड ड्राइव ओनली. लेट्स से यू हैव ए हार्ड ड्राइव जिसमें आपका 60% हार्ड ड्राइव भरा हुआ है, 40% आपका खाली है, तो वो 40% में से कुछ हिस्सा वर्चुअल मेमोरी को दे देगा फॉर इट्स यूज के चलो ठीक है तुम कुछ सामान मेरे पास भेज दो, यहाँ से प्रोसेसिंग कर लो. So virtual memory is kind of that memory which utilizes hard drive on the back end and get the work done. Physically, it does not add anything into RAM, but for a program that is running which is heavy, it gives a fake confidence to that program कि चलो ठीक है तुम्हारे पास total RAM इतना है. Let's say 16 GB वैसे था और 16 GB इधर से मिल गया, दिखाने के लिए 32 GB हो गया, but in the end है 16 GB ही physical RAM. And now coming to the cache memory. Cache memories are of two types, level 1, level 2, right? So there might be level 3 also in the advanced computers these days, but then this is the basic that L1, L2 are the two kind of cache memories in which you will be having some amount of memory which will be very low compared to your RAM. जैसे हम यहाँ पे GBs में बात कर रहे हैं, cache memory तो KBs में होती है या फिर at max में भी 1 or 2 MB, very small in size, just for immediate work. छोटा मोटा काम अगर जल्दी करवाना है वो वहाँ पे कैश मेमोरी से करवा सकते हो. Similarly, CPU registers are there. In a particular CPU, there might be a case that you have maybe 16 registers. ठीक है, you might have 16 registers and every register have only 1 byte to store the value. So it is very small, very small. Single byte में आप कितना के store कर लोगे, right? And so that's all about this memory classification, and this same discussion has been done on the next slide. थोड़ा सा कम लिखा हुआ है इस पे, but the basic idea is same. So registers are very small memory spaces inside the processor, and cache is high speed RAM integrated with the CPU. L1 and L2 are the level 1 and level 2 cache only. So it is very small, 2 to 64 KB or maybe 256 KB to 2 MB depending on the level. ठीक है जी. And level 2 cache memory is slower than the level 1 cache memory but faster than the main memory. Main memory मतलब जो आपकी original RAM आप use कर रहे हो. You must have seen, अगर आप इसका task manager खोलोगे in your laptop, in task manager click on RAM. ठीक है, वहाँ पे इनिशियली ऊपर CPU होगा, फिर RAM होगा, फिर आपका C ड्राइव होगा अगर आपने SSD इंस्टॉल करा हुआ, और फिर हार्ड डिस्क होगा अगर आपका, तो वहाँ पे D ड्राइव E ड्राइव शो हो रहा होगा, फिर GPU का इंफॉर्मेशन होगा वहाँ पे. सो this kind of things will be available. क्या हो गया इसको ये, 1 second. हाँ, तो GPU होगा, तो उसमें से अगर आप रैम वाले पे क्लिक करोगे, यू ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड यू विल हैव द मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन अबाउट योर रैम इन योर लैपटॉप. लेट्स से 16 GB की रैम थी, एंड वहाँ पे साथ में लिखा होगा कि जी ये 2400 क्या होता है इसका, देयर इज अ यूनिट विद इट. I am unable to recall some unit. So there is a unit along with the RAM. So that unit is kind of something which tells us the speed of the RAM. There are 2166 speed of RAMs also. There are 2400 speed wali RAM, and there is up to 3000 and 3200 itna speed wale RAM hote hain. So these are all different speeds of RAM. Depending on kitni speed hai, you can find the details in your laptop. And then there is virtual memory. It is part of hard disk only, which is used by the RAM to give an impression of large capacity to the program. ठीक है, तो मतलब that's all about your memory memory classification. If you have a doubt in this, अगर कोई इसमें से नहीं समझ आया तो पूछ सकते हो अभी. Anyone, any doubt in this?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's go to this software classification. There are mainly two types of softwares: application software, system software. So within application software, it means that whatever softwares you are installing on your own in your laptops, those can be classified into general purpose, special purpose, bespoke. So these are the three kinds of different application softwares. And for a general purpose, let's say you have Windows. ठीक है, आपने Windows install करी हुई है, and in that Windows you will have different features. अगर आप किसी के ऊपर click कर रहे हो, let's say start button, and everything is pre-installed, right, according to that. So that kind of a thing is special purpose because you are working on Windows and you have to specifically work on one or two things generally out of it. Similarly, bespoke क्या होता है? Bespoke is one of the software that is particularly developed by one or two organizations. They can work in collaboration, or maybe they can work on their own, and a particular application, let's say IDM. So IDM is being developed by some software company, and it has a very particular application related to it. So that's bespoke, and it is generally licensed. So you have to get the license to work around that software. And then there are system softwares that are on the back end. So library programs, translators, utility programs, and the fourth one is operating systems. So operating system, we all know there is Windows, there is Linux, there is Mac. So there are different kinds of operating systems. And then let's talk more about these three. Can anyone tell me the difference between assembler and compiler? Hanji, anyone? Difference between assembler and compiler? Can you people hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear
Yes,
you.
sir.
बताओ फिर डिफरेंस बताओ यार, कोई आइडिया दो इसके बारे में. देखो, दो तरह की लैंग्वेजेस होती हैं, असेंबली लैंग्वेज and there is this high level language. There are other languages also. In fact, there are total 5 types of different languages uh, in the history of computers. So there are 5 generations of languages. उसमें से एक assembly language है, इससे भी पहले एक machine language थी. Then assembly language came, then high level languages came, and I will discuss the other two when it will come. It is coming on the after 2-3 slides. So let's discuss the first 3. So machine language का मतलब है that we are directly giving the 0101 to the computer. If you can do this thing, you can directly work on the computer and get the work done, and you do not need any kind of high level language. But obviously it is impossible for a human being to give directly instructions in the form of 01, which is understandable by the computer. So can anyone tell me, I have one more question related to this. Why does computer work only with 0 and 1? Any idea on this? 01 के अलावा कुछ और क्यों नहीं है कंप्यूटर में? Why only 0 and 1? हाँ जी, quick. No idea?
Sir, it can be because differently programmed computers, मतलब स्कोप बढ़ जाएगा बेसिकली अंडरस्टैंडिंग का, तो बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस हो जाएंगी जिसके लिए कंप्यूट कर मतलब उसको कॉन्फ़िगर करना पड़ जाएगा कंप्यूटर को.
तो इसलिए सिंपल रखने के लिए 01 यूज कर लेते हैं ना.
इट्स लाइक अ स्टैंडर्ड.
Actually, kind of partially correct, but I would not say this is the answer. So the reason behind only 01 is that on the backend, computers are using some electronic circuits, right? Backend पे कुछ circuits हैं, उसमें कुछ capacitors लगे हुए हैं, resistors लगे हुए हैं. हमने तो अभी resistors की बात करी थी, that there are multiple resistors inside your computer. So in a way, it is only processing the current, and current is either voltage high or voltage low, 1 or 0. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
That's why computer deals only with 0 1, क्योंकि उसको करंट समझ में आता है, या 0 या 1. That's all. That's why computer only deals with 0 and 1. That's why machine language has 0 and 1 in it. That's all. अब क्या है कि एक assembly language आई थी. Assembly language came before the high level languages, जो C programming है, C++ है, ये सब high level languages हैं. तो assembly language में क्या हुआ, हमने क्या किया, हमने उसके directly registers के साथ काम करना चाहा कि हम चलो registers से कुछ काम करवाते हैं. तो let's say there is a command LDA5. It means that A is my register and I have to load this register A. In fact, this A has a full form of accumulator. I don't know if this is in your syllabus or not, but I'm just telling you so that you get a better understanding. Accumulator register होता है एक, which is inside every laptop or a computer. So you are actually sending the value of 5 into that accumulator register के भाई ये ले मेरा save कर ले value अपने पास, which is A. कोई B नाम का रजिस्टर होगा तो हम B में कुछ और भेज देंगे, ठीक है। लेकिन इस स्टेटमेंट का मतलब है लोड वैल्यू ऑफ 5 इनटू A। LDA 5 का मतलब है कि मेरा 5 वैल्यू LDA करके मतलब एक्यूमुलेटर में डाल दो। एंड LDA 5 ने A के अंदर 5 डाला, तो ये चीज डालने के लिए इसको कुछ कन्वर्ट होना पड़ेगा। इसको कन्वर्ट करने के लिए असेंबली लैंग्वेज को मशीन लैंग्वेज में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए, इस फॉर्म में लेके आने के लिए, दिस इज मशीन लैंग्वेज, दिस इज माय असेंबली लैंग्वेज, इन दोनों को आपस में कन्वर्सेट करने के लिए कि असेंबली को हमें मशीन में लेके आना है, हमें चाहिए असेंबलर। दिस इज असेंबलर। ये असेंबलर का काम है कि वो असेंबली लैंग्वेज को कन्वर्ट करके मशीन लैंग्वेज में लेके आए, ठीक है। असेंबलर का काम ये होता है। सिमिलरली वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन कंपाइलर का काम, ठीक है। कंपाइलर क्या करता है? कंपाइलर कन्वर्ट्स माय हाई लेवल लैंग्वेज जो हम कोड कर रहे हैं इनटू डायरेक्टली मशीन लैंग्वेज। वो असेंबली में नहीं करता, डायरेक्टली मशीन लैंग्वेज में कन्वर्ट कर देता है 01 में। दिस इज डन बाय कंपाइलर, ठीक है जी। एनी डाउट इन दिस? आप इंट ए लिख रहे हो, उसमें 5 डाल रहे हो, ये सब आपका डायरेक्टली मशीन लैंग्वेज में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा कंपाइलर के थ्रू। सो व्हाट अबाउट इंटरप्रेटर? एनी आइडिया ऑन दिस? Interpreter means, for example, in Python में अगर कोड करना है तो there is a very famous online platform called Google Collaboratory. How many of you have heard about it? Only one? Two? Two people have raised hand. Only three? Okay. Four? Okay. So maybe less than 10, right? Out of you, up to 10 or maybe up to 5 people know what is Google Collaboratory. It's a Google platform. It is free for coding if you want to work in Python. So the best part of Google Collaboratory is there are different cells होते हैं उसमें। तो सेल नंबर 0, सेल नंबर 1, सेल नंबर 2, तो मल्टीपल सेल्स होते हैं और उसमें आप एक एक लाइन लिख दो a = 10। उसके बाद यहाँ पे आप शिफ्ट प्लस एंटर मारो, वहां पे it will take you to the next empty space और यहाँ पे आपको वो वैल्यू 10 वाला a में डाल देगा। वहां पे int का char का कुछ नहीं लिखना, बस a = 10 दो, काम हो जाता है। और उसके बाद आप यहाँ पे a लिख के शिफ्ट एंटर मारोगे तो वो वैल्यू ऑफ a यहाँ पे प्रिंट भी करवा देगा, आउटपुट भी दे देगा। तो जब आप लाइन बाय लाइन रन कर रहे हो, ये हमारा काम करवा रहा है इंटरप्रेटर, क्योंकि वो इंटरप्रेट कर रहा है हर लाइन को वो इंटरप्रेट कर रहा है, ठीक है। इंटरप्रेटर वर्क्स जनरली इन पाइथन and if you want to run it even for your अगर आपने कोई भी कोड लिखना है पाइथन में, इट डज नॉट मीन कि पाइथन में आपको हमेशा लाइन बाय लाइन ही रन करना पड़ेगा। यू कैन डू द कोडिंग इन पाइथन सिमिलर टू सी प्रोग्रामिंग। जैसे हम सी में करते हैं कोई भी कोड, तो हम ऊपर उसका नाम लिखते हैं, लेट्स से hello.c, तो यहाँ पे आप लिखोगे hello.py। अगर आप hello.py लिखोगे मतलब पाइथन का कोड है, एंड यू कैन पुट योर कोड एज इट इज जैसे सी में लिखते थे, और उसको एज इट इज पूरा इकट्ठा रन कर सकते हो। वर्सेस इफ यू run it line by line Google Colab में, it will have the extension of hello.ipynb। इसका मतलब है इंटरेक्टिव पाइथन नोटबुक। तो दिस इज वन ऑफ द इंटरप्रेटर्स वर्क, काफी हेल्पफुल होता है। IPython notebook, I always prefer, rather than writing a basic Python code, I always prefer IPython notebook, interaction Python notebook, जिसमें मैं लाइन बाय लाइन उसको रन कर पाऊँ एंड अंडरस्टैंड कर पाऊँ कि मेरा काम हो क्या रहा है। Okay, moving on to next slide. So let's discuss the algorithm, flowcharts, and the generation of programming languages. If you have a doubt in previous slide, you can ask it. Otherwise, I will move to the next topic now because this is a new topic. We will discuss 2-3 things in which we will be discussing the algorithm, what is algorithm, what is flowchart, what is pseudocode, and then I will be discussing the generation of program languages. So these are the different things. Let's start with the algorithm. So when I say that my algorithm is a finite sequence, it means कि उसका एक starting point होगा and उसका एक stop point होगा, तभी वो finite होगा. ठीक है, अभी मैं दिखाऊंगा कि होता क्या है algorithm, but it will always have start and stop point. Explicit भी चाहिए जी, unambiguous भी चाहिए. Explicit का मतलब है very clearly written, very clearly mentioned. ठीक है, क्लियर होना चाहिए जो भी हम काम कर रहे हैं. एंड अनएम्बिगुअस मतलब कुछ भी एरर नहीं होना चाहिए, इट शुड बी एरर फ्री. तो व्हेन यू राइट finite sequence of steps which are clearly mentioned and which are error free. Yes, anything you want to ask something? Okay, so moving ahead. So I know from the first part कि मेरा कुछ limited number of steps होंगे which should be clearly mentioned and it should not be having any error. There should be this kind of stuff, and then which when provided with a set of input values give me some output. इसमें 5 चीजें important हैं: finite sequence, explicitly mentioned, unambiguous, and then there will be set of some input values. ठीक है, 1 2 3, set of input values 4, and output will be given, and sixth thing is terminate. काम खत्म करने के बाद खत्म भी करना है, मतलब उसको एंड भी करना है. ठीक है, तो लेट्स सी ए वेरी बेसिक एल्गोरिदम. ठीक है, दिस इज द एल्गोरिदम एंड आई वांट टू say one thing at this point. It looks easy, but if you miss anything, let's say you do not write step 1, step 2, step 3, you will lose marks. अगर आपको वहां पे एल्गोरिदम लिखना आ रहा है, let's say you get a question in your exam that write an algorithm to add 2 numbers entered by the user. If you look at this thing, you will not feel that this algorithm is particularly for C programming language. This rule is applicable to C++ also, even for Python. So any language can use your algorithm. So you need to make sure that you are not being very specific. यहाँ पे हमने पूरे algorithm में कहीं पे भी hash include नहीं लिखा, हमने यहाँ पे int main नहीं लिखा, तो वो चीजें हमने यहाँ पे नहीं लिखनी जो कि language specific हैं. You have to be very general. You have to keep your algorithm generic. Step 1, step 2, step 3 जितने भी होंगे सारे step का number होना चाहिए. It should have a start and stop point, and then inside these start and stop you have to put the thing that you want to discuss. So one thing to mention here, declare the variables num1, num2 and sum. हमने यहाँ पे ये भी नहीं बताया कि int लेना है. ठीक है, मतलब ये बहुत ध्यान से करने वाली चीज है. अगर आप ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट रहोगे कि आपको सी आती है, पाइथन आती है, जावा आती है, डज नॉट मैटर. एल्गोरिदम इज फ्री ऑफ एवरी लैंग्वेज. एल्गोरिदम बहुत जनरल चीज है. अगर आप यहाँ पे इंट लिख दोगे तो वो भी एक एरर है, क्योंकि वो पाइथन में नहीं चलेगा, फिर पाइथन में इंट नहीं होता. ठीक है, तो आपको इन चीजों का भी ध्यान रखना है कि जस्ट राइट दिस, डिक्लेयर वेरिएबल num1, num2 and sum. We need these 3 variables. Then read the values num1 and num2. These should be given by the user, so maybe you can also replace this read with a input. So input values of num1 and num2, then add num1 and num2, assign the result to sum. So it has to be written like this: sum with a back arrow, then num1 plus num2. This back arrow is very important. We are not using equal to sign here. So जो भी आपके वैल्यू होगा, it will be solved on the right hand side and this will be sent on the left hand side. तो असाइनमेंट राइट टू लेफ्ट ही होता है वैसे भी. इट्स जस्ट दैट आई वांटेड टू हाईलाइट कि यहाँ पे बैक एरो है. ठीक है, एरो का डायरेक्शन बैक ही रखना है क्योंकि हमें राइट टू लेफ्ट आना है. उल्टा एरो नहीं लगाना, ये वाला गलत हो जाएगा. ठीक है, दिस इज ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. एंड देन फाइनली डिस्प्ले द सम एंड स्टॉप द एल्गोरिथम. सो इट्स ए फाइनाइट नंबर ऑफ स्टेप्स. 6 पॉइंट है, उसका एक एंड में हम खत्म भी कर रहे हैं, टर्मिनेट भी कर रहे हैं जी, और हमने बाकी भी सारा डिस्कस कर लिया. एंड वी आर नॉट मेकिंग आवर एल्गोरिथम लैंग्वेज स्पेसिफिक. इज दिस थिंग क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I should move ahead now. So let's discuss the flow chart. When we say we have to make a flow chart is a pictorial form of algorithm. So we have discussed the algorithm before. Now we have to make a pictorial form of it. in which there are two things, boxes and arrows. ठीक है, दो चीजें बनानी है, कुछ अलग अलग तरह के बॉक्सेस होंगे एंड एरोस, तो हमें पता ही एरो क्या होता है कि फ्लो बताना है बस, ठीक है। ऐसे भी हो सकता है, नीचे को भी हो सकता है, फ्लो चार्ट में एरो बस डायरेक्शन बताने के लिए होता है। बट देन देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ बॉक्सेस, उसमें ऐसे करके आपको रोम्बस सा भी दिखेगा, ठीक है, और उसमें आपको एक रिलेशनशिप वाला भी दिखेगा, ठीक है, एंड देयर इज वन रेक्टेंगल आल्सो। सो वी विल लुक इनटू दिस थिंग कि ये क्या है और क्या नहीं है। सो दिस is a flowchart of one program. Can anyone tell me what is being done in this flowchart? What is the thing that is being tried to solve with this? What is the problem that is being solved? समझो इस flowchart को और बताओ जल्दी से। Isn't it factorial of a number? हाँ जी। Let's say, I mean,
Yes, sir.
this is a start and this
Yes.
is end point. ठीक है, अब अंदर देखते हैं क्या हो रहा है, समझते हैं इसको। I am reading the value of n. n को let's say मैंने 5 दिया, then I am initializing two values, m equal to 1 and f equal to 1, and then I am also calculating this f value which is equal to f into m. f into m first time मेरा 1 नहीं आएगा क्योंकि 1 1 था। Now I will check if my is my m equal to n. Obviously 1 is not equal to 5, तो वो नो वाली कैटेगरी में आ जाएगा और यहाँ पे वो m को +1 कर देगा, ठीक है। The point is not to understand how factorial works, but then it is more important to understand this flowchart, और flowchart समझने के लिए concept समझना जरूरी है कि हो क्या रहा है। तो आप क्या करोगे, m को 2 कर दोगे and then again you will multiply f into m. f was 1, so f into m will be f1 into 2. Now again 2 not equal to 5, ठीक है जी, नो हो गया यहाँ पे, ठीक है, क्योंकि इक्वल टू चेक हो रहा था, इक्वलिटी फॉल्स हो गई है, दोबारा से 2 का 3 हो गया जी, ठीक है। नाउ 3 will be multiplied by f, then again 3 is not equal to 5, +1 दोबारा से होगा, वो मतलब यहाँ पे घूमता रहेगा जब तक मेरी ये कंडीशन यस नहीं हो जाती, तो वो into 4 into 5 करेगा, and then at this particular point your m is equal to 5, so m equal to 5 हो गया and which is equal to n which is true, तो वो yes वाले केस में आगे जाके प्रिंट मारेगा 120 आंसर उसका प्रिंट करेगा और एंड कर देगा। इस पूरे फ्लो चार्ट को समझना आसान हो गया बिकॉज हमें समझ में आ गया हो क्या रहा है।
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now a few things to remember, then that when we are kind of doing a scanf or a printf, ठीक है, in a way this is scanf and printf only ना, readn और printf, so this is scanf printf, तो यहाँ पे आपको थोड़ा सा ऐसे पैरेललोग्राम सा बनाना है। if you are checking a condition it has to be in a this diamond form, ठीक है, तो ऐसे करके ये वाला आपको सिंबल बनाना पड़ेगा फॉर दिस कंडीशन, अदरवाइज बाकी सारे नॉर्मल हैं। अगर आप कोई वैल्यू असाइन कर रहे हो, कुछ प्रोसेस कर रहे हो, कोई वैल्यू को अपडेट करना है या उसको +1 करना है, जो भी करना है, ये सब आपका एक नॉर्मल रेक्टेंगल में आ जाएगा। सो दीज आर द फ्यू पॉइंट्स दैट यू नीड टू टेक केयर ऑफ व्हाइल मेकिंग ए फ्लो चार्ट। इज इट क्लियर?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do we have still time? We have 2-3 minutes, right? Let's discuss the pseudocode also. It is very simple now that you have understood the algorithm and the flow chart. Pseudocode, pseudo का मतलब क्या होता है? What is the meaning of pseudo word? False, right? False. Okay. So pseudocode is a generic way of describing an algorithm without using any specific programming, and it is also outline of a program written in a form which can be easily converted into real programming. मतलब हमें कुछ ऐसा कोड बनाना है कि जो पूरा कोड नहीं भी है पर हमें समझ भी आ जाए। In a way, you have to make something like this. One second, I will remove this annotation. So if you look into this thing, I will not explain this today. I will discuss this thing in detail in the next lecture. I just want to highlight one thing. This is not code. ये पूरा कोड भी नहीं है पर ये पूरा एल्गोरिथम भी नहीं है। आपने बस इंग्लिश मारी हुई है यहाँ पे। All of them are English statements and you are just putting if, else if, and if, and if, मतलब जो भी आपने if शुरू करा है उसको end में करना है यहाँ पे, ये वाले if को भी यहाँ पे end कर दिया. But then this is not even a proper code. This is not a algorithm. This is called pseudocode, which is neither a code nor a full algorithm, but still gives me the idea without even me understanding this code fully. मतलब यहाँ पे ये C programming के लिए नहीं है, ये C++ के नहीं है. It's just that we are we are looking into the if, and everyone knows what if means even in English. Okay, that's all for today. Time is up. We still have 1 or 2 minutes, but that's fine. So let's give time to the other teacher now. Thank you. I will end the session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.